Good morning, day 20 of our Heysen Trail. Sobo. We're at Hiskeys Hut tonight. I slept in the hut, Simone slept in the tent. It's a very dewy night. We've only got a fairly short day today. There's a closure ahead of us. So I think it's Curnows Hut we miss out on. We swing over to a place I've never camped before on the Bundaleer channels. So we're not too sure what today's got in store because neither of us walked this section before. But I'm suspecting it'll be fairly easy walking. It's about mid-20s distance. First of all, we're going to drop down to Georgetown. There's nothing open there, but there will be a rubbish bin and I'll top up the water. All good. Let's look at something better than my face, eh? All right, we're off. It's just after 7:30. The sun's just come up. It's pretty chilly. Fingers are aching.
0.3.
Simone says feels like 0.3. My fingers are telling me that is probably right. So we're heading over this hill and then we drop down into, I think it's Georgetown, but there used to be a pub and a general store, but the general store's closed, and I think the pub's not open at the moment either. Mind you, nothing will be open at 7:30 on a, I don't know, Tuesday morning, I think. Certainly some big sky views though. The hut's in those trees back there. That's our last look at Hiskeys Hut for this trip. All right, we're in Georgetown, heading to the park, top up the water. This is where our alternate starts, or not an alternate, our kind of detour. First real detour we've had on the Heysen so far. Okay, this is our reroute around. We miss Curnows. So there used to be a general store here. It's gone. It was quite a quirky place last time I was here. And over the road, the pub. Alright, I'm just trying not to video Simone when she turned around. I believe the pub's closed too. So that's the closed bit up that way. We're heading out of town up here somewhere. We're heading for the park. I'm not sure if the pub's closed forever or it's for winter or something. All right, just had breakfast in Georgetown. Very nice park here. If you're passing through, got the bins, picnic table, covered picnic table, barbecues, children's playground. So don't camp here. But there is also, apart from flushing toilets, which you'd expect, a shower. Simone tells me somewhere. Yeah, so if you needed a shower, you could grab a shower here. But like I said, probably not the place to camp because it's Hiskeys is only a couple of k's up the road, and obviously you don't want to be camping at a children's playground. But to get out of the rain for a while, or have a bit of a break. There's some power in the toilets as well, and a potable water over there with Simone is, which is a sign you don't often see. The pub's closed, the general store's closed. And unfortunately, the bowling club's looking a bit sad with some weeds. Well, we're walking out of Georgetown. Had a nice little break at the park after all of 3 kilometres walking this morning. We're heading up, I think it's Langs Road now, so we're on this big diversion. It's almost probably 16, 17k diversion, maybe longer. So yeah, we head up this one till we reach the end, then we swing right. So the nav doesn't look particularly hard. Bit like a screensaver shot. So we're still walking roads. We will be on this variant for this diversion for a little while, I think. So, any Heysen Trail walker or Mawson rider will know about the red clay roads. We've been very lucky on this trip with the weather so far though. We're about to swing east again soon and head up into the hills. We're about probably halfway through the day, I guess. Hasn't been a lot of vision on this diversion. It's basically just been quiet road walking and farmland. Part pleasant enough. We've just been wandering along chatting. So we're on pipeline track now, I think. We got to this line of trees ahead of Simone there. Well ahead of Simone. And then I think we're going to swing left. Probably up through that pass there where there's a few trees, I'm guessing. Been picking up a lot of mud on these red roads, so I'm trying to kind of walk in the grass occasionally. This bit isn't bad, there's a bit of gravel on it. The moon's coming up.
Is it coming up?
I think it's coming up on my camera. So since leaving Crystalbrook, the Heysen does this strange thing. Instead of heading south, it heads east. So we're basically walking east for days now till the other side of Mount Brian East. So yeah, it's just a little quirk where it abandons this north-south journey and walks east-west for a few days. Anyway, once we get past there, progress towards Cape Jarvis will begin again in the southerly direction. The size of that tractor.
I'd love to stand underneath it.
And we're off the roads now into farmers' paddocks for a while. We're dropping down through that little gap there by the look of it. I'm not sure the sheep are so happy we've been diverted through their paddock. So this is the headwaters of Bundaleer Creek. You follow the Bundaleer Channel, Bundaleer Creek now for a fair distance. At least till Spalding on and off, and then out the other side of Spalding as well. So we're still on our reroute, but not much farther to go, I don't think. And we'll meet up with the official track again. Even a few grass trees on that hill there. So the last part of the day has been a big improvement on the roads around out of Georgetown. I've been lucky with weather too. There's a bit of a wind drought on actually, so because it's normally super windy because of all the turbines around, with the turbines around here. But yeah, not a lot of wind blowing at the moment. I'm not sure when it's due to pick up again. We're thinking, we got Whistling Trigger in a couple of days, which is in the middle of the turbine kind of country between Hallett and Spalding. And we're actually thinking we may slack pack it from Ange and Fletcher and Spalding Hotel, get picked up and then get dropped off the next day and just spend an extra night at the pub. We'll see how we're going. We'll talk to Fletcher when we get there, make sure he can do it. It's a pretty sensational light at the moment too. I reckon we're about a kilometre and a half from this. I think it's called the Bundaleer Tank Camp. So this is Bundaleer Creek here to our right. I think it's in an old farmhouse spot or something. I think there's some apple trees or fruit trees or something. There's an old orchard around it, if it's the one I'm remembering. Or maybe it was willow trees. I don't know. But I remember it being fairly flat and fairly vast, which is not always the case on the Heysen. A few roos welcoming us into camp. So this is it. We're back on the official Heysen Trail. Ordinarily, we come in from miles and miles up that valley. I've forgotten that Curnows Hut, I think it is. We're heading down towards those trees down there. I think camp's not far from that. I haven't camped here before, I've only passed through. The reroute one? Yeah. I mentioned that a minute ago, so yeah, that's where you'd normally go straight up that valley. We're in the valley of the grass trees here. It's very pretty. So we're back on the official trail, I think. Scramble around a couple of bluffs and we'll be at camp. Okay, we've made it to the Bundaleer campground. So Curnows Hut, north of here, is closed at the moment. That's why we had that long diversion. And next water is Spalding, 18.9 k's away. So this is a very roomy campsite. It's got obviously got the tank here, a little platform and a little veranda. You got the pack table over there. There's heaps of flat areas for tents, and you got a toilet over there. We're surrounded by farmland, but I can see roos hopping around that paddock up here from here, so it's a pretty nice spot. All right, that's about it for day 20 of our Heysen Trail Sobo. We're at Bundaleer Tank Camp. We're about 18 k's out of Spalding, so we'll be there tomorrow lunchtime, I guess. We walked about 24 k's on this diversion. Well, some of it was on the diversion, some of it was the original track, but mostly diversion today. It was bugger all climbing. It was about 250, 260 metres climbing, so it was pretty easy, but there was some long straight roads we had to walk on the diversion, so it was a little bit, took us a bit longer than we thought. We stopped a few times. All right, it's meant to be 1 degrees here tonight with a apparent feels like temperature -3 at about 7 o'clock in the morning when we normally fire up. So we'll see if the ground's covered in ice in the morning. We'll see how I survive with my quilt too. All right, if nothing exciting happens, I will catch everyone tomorrow. Take it easy.